What's up, y'all? How you all? Good, good. Well, I just want to let you guys know that I happened to stumble across a video concerning a certain Cape Crusader and the Ogre. Now, usually there's been enough people covering this topic already for me to not even mention my input on it. But this video is possibly one of the worst takes I've probably seen on how the match has been decided and the feats used and applied for their conclusion on how they see the match going. Now, this isn't an attack on the guy. I happened to actually watch some of his content concerning some of the Baki chapter breakdowns. He's really cool, but this take isn't one of his best, and I gotta dissect this. So sit back, relax, let's get into this.
I'll be splitting this fight into two parts. One where Batman has no prep time, and one where he does.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Likewise, the iteration of Batman matters because some are so overpowered. The version of Batman I'll reference for this versus battle is Batman Post-Crisis, or Tomorrowverse.
Okay, using something from an animated movie and the comic books post 2011, which is over 10 years ago, is a little strange to combine into one, but we'll see where this goes. But this is kind of already off to a shaky start.
Because I'm more familiar with this version, and also because this Batman has consistent feats, so showings of what he's capable of on a superhuman or peak human level.
Yeah, I'm not going to mince words with this one. Batman in the comics, in the main continuity, is definitely a superhuman, not a metahuman by DC's own standards, because he doesn't have any special abilities. But Batman's feats of strength and durability are pretty demonstrably superhuman. So much so that other Elseworld stories can't even compare to what base Batman does. Just comparing feats to one another. So yeah, let's see where this goes.
But I'm free to use any other version, but I'll mainly use Post-Crisis.
Any other version? Whoa, I thought you just said you're going to use Post-Crisis in the Tomorrowverse. Now, any other version? Why not just say use comp? I mean, it'd be a lot easier than trying to mishmash any version to fit your criteria of what should be the most consistent Batman, right?
Just on your average take on Batman and what he would have in his arsenal most of the time, even when it's a different version of the character. Like for example, how every Batman would obviously have a Batarang. Lastly, I won't include any version of Bruce with enhancements or any tech that he wouldn't normally use.
Right. Because that would be ridiculous. As you've already pointed out, that Batman has abilities, especially in different incarnations, that would make this fight laughably unfair. So, where are we going, champ?
He would not only be Batman's most demanding hand-to-hand combatant ever.
There's no way you believe the likes of Yujiro is more of a demanding hand-to-hand combatant than the likes of Shiva, who's been consistently stated to be above Batman and been the only person to rival Batman over multiple incarnations of the DC universe. I'd even argue Yujiro isn't even as adept in martial arts as Shiva is, especially above characters like Karate Kid or Richard Dragon. The most Yujiro is shown to have is just a knowledge of all martial arts within the Baki verse. But that's like casual League of Assassin fodder in DC, so it doesn't really mean much.
But Yujiro also can't be defeated under normal circumstances, like knocking him out or subduing him through smoke bombs or gas. Batman would need an unorthodox plan to possibly beat Yujiro.
Yeah, it's kind of how Batman beats any one of his foes, given him being in positions that aren't advantageous to how he would usually win. And also, about his weapons. These same smoke pellets blinded Flash, by the way. But go off.
Getting into Batman's scaling, like Bane, who also have building level amount of power, as well as there being supplementary feats for Batman that would still put him around building level to large building level range and attack power consistently.
This is the same Batman that tanked an attack from Quakemaster's Quake Machine that was said to be an earthquake by the narrative, Batman himself, and the narration following the story. And I don't know why Quakemaster would lie, given the fact that he, produced it, and Batman tanks the attack point blank. So I'm a little confused. Later on, you're going to use one feat from Yujiro and say that he consistently scales to it, even though we've only seen him perform that feat one time, or something similar to it with Baki. Yet, there's another feat where Batman has performed the same thing, if not better, by the actual device that made the earth start to quake. Come on now.
The man is peak human after all. Now, Yujiro's attack power is far stronger by the cause of the infamous stopping an earthquake with a punch feats, which brings Yujiro's attack power to around city level, since it was Yujiro from the past that performed the feats, and Yujiro gets stronger every day, meaning his current state would be much stronger. I know people don't like this feat because they say it's an outlier or it doesn't make sense, which it literally isn't. It's not an outlier.
Why is it not an outlier? Can you show another instance of Yujiro performing another city level feat? By himself, no imagination?
And each universe or story has its own level of sense.
Right. So explain how punching the ground stops an earthquake. Explain how that makes sense, please. No? Okay.
Anyways, I'll scale Yujiro from his son Baki instead, where in this instance, Baki created a mini earthquake just by sparring with an imaginary version of his father. Yeah, an imagination. Don't ask me how that's possible. It's calculated to be mostly a city block level, and Yujiro is outright stronger than his son as of now, even scaling much higher for Yujiro with additional points, such as Baki was only trading here, so he would have a stronger output if he was going all out, and Yujiro was already massively stronger from the get-go, thus he'd have a stronger output in general, and Demon Back, which multiplies all his stats, thus raising the attack power really high, putting it in city level plus range of attack power.
Hey, hold on, this shit ain't funny. It ain't funny, but it is.
An instance would be when he's confronting Wonder Woman over a lady she was protecting. Some people would say he's durable for taking the punch from Wonder Woman, which is extremely goofy. Because if you read the comic, Wonder Woman's intention is not to fight Bruce. Instead, she was holding back and just trying to keep him away from the woman.
This example is also really crazy. Because you're showing a panel where Wonder Woman punches Bruce straight in the face. He falls on the ground, gets back up, looks at her, and then grapples away. He's not hobbling. He's not significantly injured. You know, there's no visible signs of even scuff marks on his face. So I think you kind of went against your own point there, champ.
This type of thing can be seen for any of Batman's larger-than-life opponents he faces. Superman, Doomsday, etc. Batman doesn't scale to them per se, rather his tech and intelligence is what keeps him poised in the fights. And let's not forget plot armor coming into play.
Am I the only one who understands the complexities of this ambitious cinematic masterpiece? This movie isn't stupid! You're stupid!
He's still undoubtedly tough, even without the Batsuit, which the suit itself can allow him to take hits from superhumans, it's bulletproof, it can stop piercing and slashing attacks, it does well against explosions, corrosive substances, extreme temperatures, it's shockproof.
All of which happened without prep time, mind you.
Sonic wave proof. Sometimes it could even protect him from magic and legit energy. But this is about the consistent showings of Bruce's suit, so I don't expect the Batsuit to defend Bruce against magic and energy on average. That being said, his suit is strong, but it's not invincible. Even someone like Bane was able to hurt Batman with the suit on.
So a Batman that's been mentally nerfed to the point where he wants to commit unaliving himself, and suit is perfectly fine up until he gets thrown up against glass in a glass container. And now his suit is weaker?
With all that being said, I'd still say his durability is on the building level range.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But depending on the suit, it could potentially be higher, bringing it to maybe city block level. Plus, now for Yujiro, the strongest creature on Earth is unstoppable and no weapon on Earth could bring him down, including nukes. I don't mind if you reject his thoughts because it wasn't shown to us, just stated in both anime and manga.
I've had enough of this.
Although since the anime and manga have different translations, but they still hold the notion of Yujiro being able to tank nukes, as well as other characters having questionable feats, of also tanking large damaging explosions.
I've had enough of this.
But they're not entirely confirmed, either.
I've had enough of this.
There is absolutely nothing to disprove this notion, so it's more than likely true. Speed for Batman. I could chalk up to Batman being, at best, a lightning timer. Because of the feat of Barbara Gordon dodging lightning, and since Bruce is all around stronger and faster than Barbara and the rest of the Bat family, he scales above them, establishing him as massively hypersonic plus in the speed range. Pretty easy for Batman's speed, am I right? Now, if you're one of those people that want to say Batman is on the level of light speed for dodging Darkseid's Omega Beams, or any other feat of the sorts, you can't be serious. You just can't. Batman is a human.
We've done all this before.
Of the sense, a strong human, but is in a team full of aliens, gods, and superhumans. He's not keeping up with them physically at all. Like, come on now, what are you thinking?
You're baiting me, aren't you? You're mocking me.
It's purely just plot armor and convenience that Batman is able to do what he does. Like the Omega Beams, for example. They're able to tag Superman and the Flash, but Batman's able to dodge it? Question mark? Now that's some goofy plot armor right there. In hindsight, Batman would be getting blitzed in those kind of scenarios.
I.e., I don't agree with the scan, so i.e., it must not be consistent, i.e., it must be plot armor. W logic, W reasoning.
So on a relativistic picture, your average Batman is massively hypersonic plus in the speed category, and anything higher would be unreasonable.
Again, just because you believe something's unbelievable doesn't necessarily mean that it's not true. Just because Batman dodged Omega Beams doesn't make it inconsistent as the scans I've shown prior. And the scans that you know about because you pointed out there are scans where he dodges light. I don't know why that's such a hard concept to grasp.
Same for Yujiro, as he's stated to be able to dodge lightning, which puts him as a massively hypersonic plus speedy character, just like Batman. Unless you want to say he's also light speed because of this panel, but yeah, he would also be goofy.
I cannot express how happy I am that you decided to not go down that rabbit hole, especially when Yujiro debunks the scan a literal page later.
The utility gear of the Dark Knight is pretty commodious. Having the equipment needed for almost every setting, yeah, that really sounds stellar. His standard gear consists of batarangs, grappling hooks, smoke bombs, explosives, Batmobile, etc. Like many, many more, depending on which version of Batman you're taking. Now, despite mentioning a lot of his gadgets, I don't think any of them could defeat Yujiro, otherwise the standard gear wouldn't really be doing much. Fleet gas, Yujiro's internal system is just as strong as him, so he's happily breathing in that gas, and it will do diddly squats to him.
Has flashbangs that can affect Kryptonians like Supergirl. Has gas that can knock out the likes of Clayface, unless somehow you think Clayface has worse, like, susceptible weaknesses than Yujiro. And can also throw acid bombs. I don't see his immune system healing from that.
I can go on for more of the equipment, but I think you get the idea. I know some people might bring up that all Batman needs is some nets and darts to defeat Yujiro because, oh, he was beaten before in the manga with nets and darts.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Now that, my friend, that is an outlier. And it's super inconsistent for what Yujiro can do. If, for whatever reason, if you don't want to take my word and still say Yujiro could be defeated by some nets and darts, if Batman uses it, let's not forget, Batman has been hurt by bullets before and even weaker things, but I don't want to be petty right now.
This is the same guy that's been making an argument about consistency. Come on.
Darts wouldn't even pierce, they wouldn't even come close to his skin on the inside. They just bounce off the same way as bullets. And so the darts and nets would be entirely ineffective against Yujiro. Circling back to Batman, he knows pretty much every martial arts in existence and can very well make his own. Yujiro has the same statements as well.
Keep in mind, this is the only reference to Yujiro knowing every single martial art. And Motobe saying that he heard it from a source we know nothing about. And there's really no other way to validate that source is actually accurate or not.
And can possibly even copy martial art styles and techniques just by looking at them. Even though it probably hasn't been stated that Batman could possibly copy techniques and styles by looking at them also. I don't doubt that Batman has some mimicry skill, not full-blown copying, but something to make sure he wouldn't be lacking in a hand-to-hand fight against Yujiro. There's also the fact that Batman has defeated Ra's al Ghul, a character who's lived for hundreds of years with also hundreds of years of fighting experience. Granting all this, I don't think that that's enough to prove Batman would hold too much of an edge in a fight, since the opponent he's facing now in this versus battle is also a master martial artist with unorthodox skills.
I'd say there's definitely levels of martial arts mastery.
as someone who's been training in all martial arts for over 100 years compared to someone who vaguely might be able to master martial arts is a pretty big difference.
Generally speaking, I'd say the winner of this fight comes down to who's a better martial artist, and I'll probably have to give it to Yujiro, mainly due to his hacked martial arts abilities, like X-ray vision for seeing weak points, mind reading, conjuring illusions, creating imaginary forces that could increase his power, some kind of spidey sense ability, I call it Hanma sense, and probably has loads more since we haven't seen him go all out in a fight yet, not to mention Demon Back, which boosts all of his stats.
Or Batman just blitzes and out axis.
It'll be very hard for Batman to handle since he's fighting someone who is just as good or is a better martial artist than him, and the person is physically superior.
So we're just gonna forget Bane exists? Right. Don't think about it.
I can't lie, Yujiro's overconfidence could be his downfall. Batman would most definitely find an opening in that fight since he has experienced outsmarting his foes with mental gymnastics. He'd have the advantage playing with Yujiro's ego. But if Yujiro is calm, collected, the fight would be much harder for Batman in the grand scheme of things. Overall, I think Yujiro wins mid to high div. Batman's gadgets won't be troubling him. He has more attack power, higher durability, slightly more speed if he uses Demon Back, and he has more prominent fighting abilities.
I don't even know what that last sentence means, but no, and no.
What is your opinion on the matter, my dear viewer? I would like to know. So if now Batman has prep time, could Yujiro possibly defeat him?
You didn't even go into that in your own video. So obviously not. He doesn't need any prep time to win, as the stats you even gave Yujiro aren't enough to beat a base Batman who's been lowballed. No, Batman poops. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
I'll leave that to you, dear viewer.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, nothing against the guy. Love his content and deep dives and reviews. But this take was just... It was just a little beyond the pale, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, you should still go check out his channel. And though we may disagree, we can both agree that both of these characters are definitely nothing to mess around with. Alright, y'all. Deuces.